Good morning. It's good to have you all here today. Today's topic is on stories of great monks in the Ramakrishna tradition, in the Ramakrishna order. Study, swadhyaya. Study is an elemental practice in Vedanta. Why? As we advance in our spiritual life, we remain spiritually hungry. That hunger never goes away. And our appetite is such that we seek daily to inspire ourselves by holy reading and oral teachings. That oral contact is very, very important, to be touched by a great soul. But our education is only fruitful when it is an active education rather than a passive method. And so we have to ask ourselves that every day. How to make it active, how to make it more active. We enliven it by a practice of spiritual exploration, deep thinking, and assimilation, rather than simply routine reading and rote memorization of the scriptures. Through stories, our study becomes more living. We find examples and ideas that are personally relevant and can lead us to our goal. And then we're able to anchor ourselves in those ideas. And we begin to live an interior life of those spiritual ideas, which so slowly transform our character, our being. But why are stories so gripping for us? Especially those of avatars, saints, and great sadhus of our order. They bring our religion home to us. Storytelling forges connections between philosophy and real-life examples. We see how scriptural truths are exemplified in life, and that is how they inspire us. Good stories also build a familiarity and trust and allow us, the listener, to enter the story where we are. We participate in the story, as it were. And in that way, we learn and grow. Vanessa, Boris, and Lonnie Peterson, a psychologist, professional storyteller, and executive coach, explain, good stories can contain multiple meanings, so they're surprisingly economical in conveying complex ideas in graspable ways. In the Ramakrishna Vedanta tradition, stories and oral teachings are how our gurus and teachers have guided us through spiritual life since the time of Sri Ramakrishna. The following are a collection of teachings by Swamis with whom I had the great good fortune to associate. I'd like to share some of those teachings and stories with you. What is the secret of work? Swami Sridharananda related to me in 2006. He was a disciple of Swami Virajananda, the sixth president of the Ramakrishna order and a disciple of Holy Mother. At Shamlatal, once Swami Virajananda, the then sixth president, was in the habit of responding to his Vijoya letters by the full moon. This responsibility was placed on young Swami Sridharananda, Bimal Maharaj, former head of the Vedanta Society of Sacramento. As the Vijoya, there was a whole group of young monks who associated Swami Atmastananda, Bimal Maharaj, and others, and they all became very, very closely connected in Shamlatal. As the Vijoya day approached, Virajananda repeatedly asked if the deadline was being met. Each time, young Bimal Maharaj replied, "I'm trying my best." Finally, the day before the full moon deadline, Swami Virajananda once again asked his secretary if he had accomplished his task. No, Maharaj, I'm working day and night, but I can't seem to accomplish it. What? I'm giving only 10% of my mind to the external world and accomplishing so much. And yet you cannot do this much? It makes no sense to me. Swami Sridharananda then related, now I understand what he meant. No matter what I do, a part of the mind is always fixed on the beloved, with the beloved. It's hard to explain, but that brings tremendous energy. Even at 80 years of age, and now he's 98 years old, still in Australia, having established most of the centers in Australia, a powerhouse. Even at 80 years of age, I can accomplish so much without fatigue. When I take a half-hour nap, I'm totally refreshed. So what is the difference between work and service? Swami Sridharananda gave another example. Hema Maharaj was the monk who established the Ramakrishna Mission relief work in a systematic way. He used to go to the houses of the victims of disaster, make notes of their needs, and then would send the list to the headquarters. Finally, he came to Swami Saradananda. Who was then the general secretary of the Ramakrishna Mission. And he asked for a vacation. I have worked so hard and I'm tired, he said. Then the response came. Sharat Maharaj said nothing. Repeatedly, Hema Maharaj asked him for a vacation, but there was no response. Finally, Hema Maharaj came to him and asked, why do you not listen to my plea for a vacation from this hard work? I'm tired. Sharat Maharaj replied, I do not understand your vocabulary. Work and tired? I do not work, I serve. And herefore, I feel joy. I am never tired. Let's see, I think I'm, that's Sridharananda, yeah. All right. So let us see how the great monks view perfection. This is Sharat Maharaj. How they view perfection in work. About Swami Madhavananda, the General Secretary of the Order from 1938 to 1962, for a record 24 years and 9th President of the Order in 1962, Swami Sridharananda related, he was the embodiment of the Gita, karma and jnana, both equal. When a messenger came in haste to talk with him while he was meditating, Swami Ekatmananda, his sevak, discouraged him from being interrupted. But the Swami said, no, my mala work is not as important as this work. What is the good of my japa? To reach meditative perfection in my work so they become equal. Swami Sridharananda said, through meditation, we see what kind of a worker we are, observant, logical, practical, with unalloyed conviction to change. Now we come to the subject of work as worship. Swami Prabhavananda, who was my guru, and he established the Vedanta Society of Southern California in 1929, he said, Swamiji said, work is worship. Maharaj, Swami Brahmananda, used to say, work is worship, work and worship. If you don't work, you can't meditate. To work for the Lord isn't attachment, it is non-attachment. A disciple said, but Swami, I shouldn't go on thinking about my work. When I go to the shrine room, I think about my work. I have to be able to drop it, don't I? Swami answered, that is the ideal, to be intensely attached to what you are doing while you are doing it. Swamiji used to say, meaning Vivekananda, attach yourself and detach yourself at a moment's notice. Swami Sridharananda once shared a powerful story in 2008 when he came to the Dallas Center. He was the first Swami while I was here to come. He said 2 young boys ran away from home to realize God and went to Benares, where Swami Brahmananda was staying, to join the monastery. Maharaj saw them, took them in, then called their parents. The boys felt betrayed. We left home to realize God, they protested. Maharaj then said to them, you will realize the highest by serving your motherland, meaning becoming a freedom fighter for India. To the other, he said, you will have the experience of samadhi through your music. When asked, how can the performing arts lead to realization? Swami Sridharananda explained, and he explained when he was here, involvement means I have willfully isolated myself from something else. In other words, distractions. And I become involved. Because of my love and appreciation of music, because of my involvement when I listen, my mind becomes totally concentrated and is one-pointed to receive those stimulations through my ears. What is happening is the mind, where God is reflected, is getting purified. It is clear, no ripples in it. And the reality as revealed in that music dawns on me. And the reality, capital R, as revealed in that music dawns on me. And I immerse myself through that reality into the absolute. I drown myself through that reality into the absolute. My ego is caught and merged into the absolute. That is how it happens. What is life, we might ask? Swami Sridharananda related the following exchange. A young man asked Swami Sardhananda, what is life? The Swami replied, to go through unending experiences, good and bad, and to learn from them. Now ask me, what is the purpose of life? To use those experiences to transcend them. About study of the scriptures, Swami Sridharananda shared, the danger of studying the scriptures under a pundit is the intellect becomes sharp and subtle, but the euphoria from that becomes an obstacle. Very interesting. He said, learning scriptures from pundits sharpens one's logic. Learning scriptures from the senior swamis of the order sharpens our practical side. Swami Pravrajika would say, do you know how you should study the scriptures? Read 4 or 5 lines and meditate on them. And he was referring to scriptures with sutras, such as the Bhagavad Gita. Then try to live the truths expressed in those lines for a few days. Next, we come to the topic of the mantra. Swami Sridharananda explained, the repetition of the mantra is like using a stimulant as an anchor to thinking. The mantra will continually regenerate the chosen ideal. The more the mind settles in the mantra, the more it becomes transformed. What type of spiritual experience, we might ask, comes from the mantra? Swami Virajananda once revealed to Swami Sridharananda, whatever experience you receive is an offshoot of the mantra. About the anahata sound Om, Swami Pravrajika explained. This is the cosmic sound. It is not caused by one object striking another, as are ordinary sounds. In meditation, when one is a little absorbed, one may hear first the ringing of bells, etc., and then finally the sound Om, which is the anahata sound. This is one of the lower experiences. To see light, he said, is much higher. It is not merely just seeing light, but also experiencing a current of bliss. It strikes you with an ocean of light and waves of bliss. Wonderful. But how can I explain it to you? Mere words do not describe it. We might ask, how can we deepen our connection with the mantra? Swami Bhuteshananda, former president of the Ramakrishna order, disciple of Swami Saradananda, once told a young monk, if you read the scriptures, you will understand the meaning of the mantra. If you read the life of the Ishta, the chosen ideal, the clearer becomes the mantra. The name will always carry the meaning. What was initiation like by Sarada Devi? One monk, Swami Vinayakananda, a disciple of Swami Vireshwarananda, who was a disciple of Holy Mother, and who joined the Ramakrishna order and later underwent prolonged period of spiritual practices outside the order, that's this Swami Vinayakananda. He came to visit us in our Hollywood Center in the summer of 2022 and shared the following reminiscences he received from Swami Vireshwarananda on his own initiation day. This is Swami Vireshwarananda in 1997, my first trip to India. Swami Vireshwarananda said, on the day we arrived in Jairambati, Holy Mother was standing there on the veranda of her home, waiting for us. She asked us to wash our hands and gave us a towel to dry them. Then she asked us to bathe our feet, and she helped us. We were transformed into children in her presence, and she was none other than the Mother of the universe. But as soon as Mother sent us out into the village, our egos came to the surface. Such was it like to be in the presence of Holy Mother. What is practical Vedanta? Swami Prabhupada, former head of the Vedanta Society of Northern California, I believe it was a disciple of Swami Virajananda, once related to me. As a brahmachari in Bangalore, once Swami Yatishwarananda, I think he was a disciple of, asked me to go and purchase some sweets as some visiting swamis had arrived. I then went to the store and purchased some sweets for the visiting monks and returned. However, when I returned, I was stunned to see that the entire ashrama, over 25 monks and brahmacharis, were waiting to consume the sweets which I had just purchased. I looked at Swami Yatishwarananda and told him that I only purchased a few sweets for the visiting swamis. Swami Yatishwaranandaji then told me to go back to the store and purchase the appropriate number of sweets, which I did. For a long time afterwards, I thought to myself, why did Swami Yatishwarananda not tell me the exact number of sweets to purchase in the first place? Then one day it struck my mind, because he wants me to develop the habit of exercising my own buddhi, higher mind. This incident left an indelible mark on the mind of Swami Prabhupada. Years later, as the head of the San Francisco Vedanta Society, he used to say, "Sleep with a sword of discrimination under your pillow." Am I making progress in my spiritual life? This is a question we often ask. Swami Prabhupada gave a wonderful answer to such a dilemma. He said, once there was a band of monkeys who were friends with a gardener. One day the gardener told them he had to go away on an errand for a few days. The monkey said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll water the plants." "Are you sure you will?" "Absolutely. It's just watering the plants, is it not? We monkeys can do that." So the gardener left and came back within a few days, but he saw that all his plants were destroyed. He asked the monkeys, "What happened?" And they said, "We were watering every day as you requested. Not only that, we went one step further just to make sure that the proper amount of water was adequate or not. We uprooted the plants to inspect them." Swami Prabhupada then explained, likewise, trying to measure one's own spiritual progress would have that kind of effect. So do your practice, but don't try to measure it. Dealing with adversities is a problem we all face. Swami Adishwananda joined the Ramakrishna order in 1954 and was the former head of the Ramakrishna Vivekananda Center in New York. He shared with me, "Little rejections are favors from the Lord, realigning you to the goal. Sometimes your mind falls without our knowing. The Lord creates a situation for us to wake up to this fact and see, then to reestablish ourselves. In order to protect ourselves from the humiliation that comes at these times, we protect ourselves from again losing our balance." He said, "The degree in which we are obsessed with what others think of us, well or ill, we are attached. Forget yourself." How to control anger is a common challenge for aspirants. Swami Sridharananda one day shared, "If we become angry and lose sight of the divinity within others, what kind of knowledge do we have? Unsustainable. True knowledge is sustainable." How can we use the mind? Swami Sarvagatananda, disciple of Swami Akhandananda, gave the following prescription. If you wish to become illumined, you must still the senses, make the mind inward, still the thoughts, knowing I am not these thoughts, still the ego, detach yourself, then you will be illumined. Swami Sridharananda once explained during his visit to the Hollywood Center in 2006, what is the mind? It can lose itself in its subject, which is a negative quality. However, the higher mind has the capacity to become one with it, one with the object of its attention, which is a positive virtue. This is how we divinize it. The secret is not to restrict the mind, but to channel it. Now we come to transforming ourselves. Swami Sridharananda said, when you are critical of others and want to correct them, first analyze yourself. Why are you angry? Do you feel you are called upon to change the situation? Is it harming others? What are you doing this for? Be honest. About being and becoming, he said, saturate your being with the divine. What you are is what you see. What you are is what you see. How to live. Swami Sudarananda said, I mixed intimately with Swamis Madhavananda, ninth president of the order, and Shantananda, Holy Mother's disciple. By observing them, I learned about sadhu life, not by instructions. But Swami Shantananda did tell me this: live feeling Mother's presence within, so that you feel she is watching and pleased with every action. The master worshipped her as Shodashi, soft as a flower petal, gracious, forgiving, forbearing, sweet. Try to live that, and you will have the world in your hand. Swami Sudarananda elaborated. That is not to say you should not hiss. You can furrow your brow and speak with disapproval, but don't let it go beyond lips or skin. Feel Holy Mother is trying to trick you and is watching to see if you succumb. It takes practice. The secrets of spiritual life. Once an attendant of Swami Bhuteshananda shared, in reading the Bhagavatam, Swami Bhuteshananda would have tears in his eyes. He was one of the presidents of the order. In the Mahabharata, when Sri Krishna could not lift the weapons, tears streamed from his eyes. Thus this young monk asked Swami Bhuteshananda, why couldn't Krishna lift the weapon? Swami Bhuteshananda answered, in spiritual life, it happens like that. The presence of the Lord is withdrawn. We learn the secrets of spiritual life by following the examples of the saints. Before falling asleep, Swami Bhuteshananda would turn his head to see the photos of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and Swamiji. When asked why, he said, who knows if that will be my last sleep? Swami Bhuteshananda said, freedom is that we should not be held onto by others, nor should we hold on to others. About meditation, Swami Pravrajika taught to intimate devotees, when you go to meditate, first thing, God is. Convince yourself of this. Then think how he must look, and remember how he loves you. Those who feel his love become humble and feel they can never love like that. His love is so great that he doesn't let you know how he loves you. He went on, when you are trying to meditate and pray, trying to realize God, but you don't see him, feel that he is watching you and is aware that you are making the attempt to realize him. That is very important. How to concentrate and intensify our meditation? That's a question that's commonly asked. The Swami divulged, Swami Prabhavananda, sometimes when you meditate, think that you will be completely destroyed unless you keep your mind in God. That intensifies your concentration. Don't stay on the surface. Dive deep. Meditate as though Yama, the king of death, the god of death, is standing at your back, he said. The mind is a rascal mind. You think you are concentrating it on the Lord, but suddenly it has run away. Struggle. Keep struggling to bring it back. Then he said, I'll tell you a secret. Be aware as you go to meditate that the Lord is seated in your heart. That is no imagination. It is reality. When you have his vision, you will realize that he knew all the time, that he accepted all that you offered him. He went on. At the beginning of the ritual worship, you touch the eyes, the ears, the nose, and the mouth. What does that mean? To close the doors of the senses. In the same way, when you go to meditate, think that you are closing the doors of the senses. Then when you make your mind blank for a moment, don't think or concentrate. Then gather the forces of the mind and begin your meditation. On another occasion, Swami Pravrajika wrote to a disciple, "This practice of meditation on him within the shrine of your heart is very important. Through this practice alone, the abstraction will not remain an abstraction, but will become a living reality. Of course, the mind will find difficulty to meditate, but force it again and again. Do not let it go the easy way. Through practice, however, not only will it be easy, but such joy will overflow from within that it will be overwhelming." On another occasion, he taught, "People come to me and say their prayers, but don't go high enough. No, you must feel that he is aware, meaning God, that he is listening. Before your prayer has even entered your mind, he knows about it. The Lord is dwelling in you," he said. "Learn to dwell in him. The Lord is the Lord of our life, the ground of our existence." There he is speaking in the absolute sense. On another occasion, the Swami shared, "Don't think of God as so great and powerful. Feel that he is your very own. That is adoration." About prayer, he shared, "Tell the Lord, I can't see you. I can't meditate. You know all this. Please let me keep my mind in you." Talk to the Lord. It does help. "Make japam," he said. "The Lord is consciousness." Here, pointing to his head and his heart, is consciousness. The Lord's name is consciousness. On another occasion, he revealed, "The Lord never fails if you ask him sincerely for anything. I can tell you that." About spiritual practice, Swami Sarvagatananda, the former head of the Vedanta Society of Boston and Providence, a disciple of Swami Akhandananda, once simply stated, "Sri Ramakrishna said that the personal God is light. The form drops away and there is only light. Therefore, I worship Sri Ramakrishna as light." That he said in 1993. Swami Prabhavananda revealed, "You don't always have the vision of what you are meditating on. So you will know it is not self-hypnosis. He may appear to you in another form altogether, because they, the various forms of the divine, are all one and the same, yet separate. They are eternally existing." He went on, "It is very good to feel the all-pervading presence and feel that present everywhere. This is not imagination, but it is a feeling of the reality. For in fact, that is pervading and permeating every being and thing. Nay, that is the only reality. Beings and things are only waves of name and form on the bosom of the reality. But this reality, or God, he went on, will still remain an abstraction until you can see that in your own soul. And for that end, it is very necessary that you meditate on the Master as a concrete form, a real spiritual form of that all-pervading existence. See him within the shrine of your heart. See him as the soul of your soul and as the soul of all beings and things. See him, talk to him, feel him as your own, that you belong to him and he belongs to you. And at this point, he was talking to a devotee whose chosen ideal was Sri Ramakrishna. He would talk that way to others who had various chosen ideals, including that of Christ. So what is the relationship of Sri Ramakrishna and Sarada Devi? Swami Prabhavananda explained, just as fire and heat cannot be separated, so master and mother cannot be separated. Think of the one or the other, or think of both. It is all the same. That is a letter he wrote in 1953. About samadhi, ecstasy, and spiritual visions, Swami Prabhavananda said, samadhi, ecstasy, spiritual visions, these are of varying degrees. They are not all the same. They indicate different levels of growth. To have visions of mother is a wonderful thing. It indicates direct grace. But that is not enough. To be intimate with her, to talk to her, these again are greater and higher. Light, more light, more light. There is no end to this. Yes, we need only strive for constant awareness and must always pray for love, pure love for her blessed feet. Love ultimately is the supreme goal. Love that is identical with perfection and immortal bliss. That is from a letter to a disciple in 1955. And as these great souls have explained, this love is the same as Ananda, which is the same as Sat, which is the same as Chit. About spiritual progress, Swami said, when through continued regular practice, habit is formed, then there flows the current Godward. Then it is that all our problems are solved. Problems may arise, but they dissolve away with the current of our mind flowing Godward. How to cultivate an interior life? Well, all of these wonderful sayings have been about cultivation of an interior life. But in this particular sequel, Swami Prabhavananda said, yes, the only thing that we must ask of him is to have more and more love for him. Everything else is a vanity. On other occasions, he said, do not have any doubt. As you think of the Lord and pray to him, your inner mind will be shown the way, and it cannot go wrong. Yes, Ramakrishna is within us, and we are also in Ramakrishna. We live, work, and have our being in him. He said, practice, practice, practice. See for yourself. Then is it that all doubts dissolve away. This was from a letter to a disciple in 1953. He wrote, practice japa more and more. and you are sure to find the inexpressible joy, the joy that knows no limit. Until you are established in that, there will be ups and downs, but do not lose heart. The days you feel dry within need more strenuous struggle to meditate. You may not come out of the dryness while you are striving, but as an after effect of that, you will see how your whole being is responding to the bliss of God, even when you are not expecting it. On another occasion, the Swami instructed, see God in all manifestations. In all manifestations. Where else would you see him? See him everywhere. He is consciousness in all beings. We use his consciousness when we think, move, or speak, and not just insignificant consciousness of self, but infinite. Thou art that, a guru tells his disciple. The ego is insignificant, but not the self, the Atman. Whatever you gain in spiritual life, you can never lose. It may remain covered. You may seem to retrogress, but you will find that you are beginning again where you left off. That is the beauty of spiritual achievement. What you wish to achieve, practice that as a discipline. Discipline in the sense of sadhana. About the unfoldment of spiritual qualities, Swami Pravrajika explained, non-attachment is not indifference, but is attachment solely to God. To surrender to God is to think of him often. To be desireless, what does that mean? It means to yearn intensely for God. A holy man is humble. He does not assert himself. Non-attachment is not indifference. It is selfless love. About miracles, Swamis Vivekananda and Brahmananda did not want Ramakrishna's miracles to be published, but a couple of his miracles are published in Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master, and a few others have come down through the oral tradition. In the first miracle, Ramakrishna had made a white and red hibiscus blossom on the same stem to show to Mathur Babu. In the second miracle, when fatally ill with cancer and hardly able to move, he was seen running down into the garden to protect a young disciple from a cobra that was about to bite him. Holy Mother witnessed this. Swami Pravrajika related the following miracle, which probably pertained to Kalipada Ghosh. Once the wife of Kalipada Ghosh came to Sri Ramakrishna and begged him to free her husband from his addiction to drink. All their money had gone into his drinking. Sri Ramakrishna sent her to Holy Mother. Holy Mother sent her back to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna again sent her to Holy Mother, as these two would sometimes do. It was part of their divine play. This time, Holy Mother gave the woman a vilwa leaf sacred to Shiva and asked her to touch her husband with it. The woman did, but for months, nothing happened. Then one day, the man walked into Sri Ramakrishna's room, and Thakur, meaning the master, said to him, I have been waiting for you. Can you give me a drink of wine? Kalipada Ghosh asked. Sri Ramakrishna said, I will give you a better drink than that. With these words, Thakur went into ecstasy, and his ecstasy communicated itself to the man, and they both danced together. The man, of course, was transformed. What is the secret of spiritual life? Swami Pravrajika said, when it comes to God, whatever you have achieved, if you once find him, or the inner growth you have achieved, even if you don't find him, remains with you. It cannot be taken away. Your character, your achievement stays with you. Try different ways of keeping your mind in the Lord. When you go to bed, think you are prostrating at the feet of Mother, or think of Mother in your heart, or think of the Lord seated on the lotus. New ways will come to you. Are you struggling? That is the point. You have to analyze your own weaknesses. Analyze whether you have the urge to realize God. Analyze how much time you are spending in good thoughts and bad thoughts. Remember, if you have problems, if your mind is upset, it's neither this nor that. It is that your mind is not in the Lord. How to take refuge in the Lord? Swami Pravrajika explained. Jesus said, abide in me and I in you. That comes from John 15:4. If we can find this one teaching, he said, we will become illumined souls. Krishna said the same thing. Lodge your mind in me. Thus you shall dwell in me. Do not doubt it, here and hereafter. Chapter 12, verse 18. Now at last, we come to grace. Swami Prabhupada wrote a beautiful message to a disciple. Again, he was the former head of the Vedanta Society of San Francisco. One night, a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and the other to the Lord. When the last scene flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints and noticed that many times along the path, there was only one set of footprints in the sand. He also noticed that this happened during the lowest and saddest times in his life. This really bothered him. So he questioned the Lord. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you would walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why. When I needed you the most, you deserted me. The Lord replied, my precious, precious child, I love you and would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.